Ho ho! Looks like we are online. Let me get the chat out here so I can actually see. Let me turn the volume up on my headphones too so I can monitor my audio. Hey, I can hear me again. How's it going, everybody? Looks like we had like 15. Oh, Chris Freeze! Him is Wombuffet. Or Woobuffet, or I have no idea. I'm not a. I do play. I played the last Pokemon on the Switch. I don't know. All right, let's use in here right now. We got Chris Freeze. We have Phil at the darn second. Red Light. Bob, Data Penguin, Chris, 3D Jimmy, and Never Let the Machines Win is here. So something different. It's not Prusa related or something that could be Prusa related. We have this thing. It's an artillery. Well, they changed their name. They're no longer artillery, and it's no longer the artillery Sidewinder X1. This is the Evnovo SW-X1, or the artillery SW-X1. What's up, Robin? Hey, Phil. How's everyone doing? So just to give a disclaimer, I bought this myself. This is not a freebie. It's not a paid advertisement. No one is asking me to do this. I did ask anyone from the Artillery Evnovo group if they could show up into the chat and maybe discuss some things with people. I haven't heard anything back. I spoke specifically to someone named Jenny on Twitter who helped me make the decision to finally purchase this thing because I've wanted something bigger. And I can make something bigger, but at $400 again. So let's go over this thing. This thing's $400. Well, 420-ish, 400-ish. Depends on where you look. I bought mine directly from Artillery, so it took a while to get here. Stuck in customs forever. But for $400, you get a 300 by 300 by 400 build height, which is a CR10. Dual lead screws on the Z, so CR10S. But instead of being a Bowden, this has a Titan clone. So 3-to-1 gear, E3D hot end, volcano. Yeah. So it's a direct drive, 3-to-1 geared, volcano hot end. Yeah. Yeah, custom searching for soup waffles. What else does it have? It is a touchscreen. It is 24 volt. It is again dual lead screw. Really chunky. Just the x-axis is 20 by. I think this is 20 by 80. Yeah, 20 by 80 or 20 by 60 extrusion. 20 by 40. And the y-axis is, again, 20 by 60 or 20 by 80 extrusion. It is really well built. I was going over it when I took out the package, just checking everything over. Everything looks good. Overall, I mean, the only thing it's missing is auto bed leveling. So, I mean, in all honesty, for $400, you're getting quite... yeah, I think it's quite the package for the price. I'm very impressed with what this is for $400. And as an advocate of don't racing to the bottom, it is all clone. I mean, there's not an official E3D. This is a version 1 Volcano on here. It's not a V2 Volcano. So it uses the old the glass bead variant thermistor. So yeah, that's about it. But they did some cool things. So one of the cool things is when we get there, maybe I should talk about when we get there, but I can show you this. So instead of having the wires all dangly on the head, it actually uses this long ribbon cable. And I kind of dig this. It's a very nice long ribbon cable. So they've kind of streamlined the connections and stuff. So there's actually a breakout board behind this little plastic doohickey. And the breakout board has just little connectors. And the connectors are like, hey, this is my light. It does have a light. So it has an LED light that shines straight down so you can see your print. It does have the both fans, so it's got a, an actual, instead of an actual fan, it's had a radial fan for the front hot end here. It does have the hot end, the heater cartridge and the thermistor cartridge on the breakout board, as well as the motor power and magic. So it's kind of neat. They built these little breakout boards so that way they can use ribbon cable, which I find fancy because, I mean, even the Z is a ribbon cable. You can kind of see this floppy little ribbon cable here. And supposedly it's supposed to be really good. I've seen just amazing prints with this thing. But of course, knowing me, we're not going stock. We're going to do some mods. Some very simple mods. One is I had to have a removable bed. So let's just go ahead and get to this build. If anyone has any questions, throw them in the chat. I will answer them as best I can. We're starting out really quick. I guess I should note some other things. Ooh, we got a question here. Halsair says, before things get too far along with this, could I ask a question about the Bear extruder? Was just watching a video from February and wondering if the Bontic extruder could be used. Yes, you can use the Bontic extruder. Greg has the Bear carriage. There's a specific carriage, backplate, and carriage pieces that work with that. So check that out. Hey, no problem, 3D Jimmy, for the Prusa Slicer video. I'm going to be using Prusa Slicer. I will actually make the profile live for everyone because this is going to be a quick build. It's like 4 screws. It's 4 screws and some calibrating and some other stuff. So this is going to be super easy build because it's basically done for me. But let's actually talk about step 1. I opened up the package and it is very well packaged. It had the thick black packing foam, cut neatly, so it's all like snuggy in there. All the corners have corner supports. So yeah, all the corners in the packaging had corner supports, which again protect your investment. So shipping from China is actually really good. I would give that a very good. It was pretty close to the Prusa SL1 packaging. So I mean, that thing was super well packed. 4 screws equals 4 Stroop waffles. That's how many they took out of my package. There were 4 Stroop waffles, and they're specifically for me. Chinese rebranded ones, of course. They were stripe waffles or stripe wiffles. Same thing, just Chinese. So let's get to this. I need to do a couple things. I've already checked the bed, so I don't need to do anything there. It is smooth. It's wheels on a 20 by 60 extrusion, so it is smooth. I will cut away a little tab here and some other things here. So let me get in here with some tools. Haha. Hey, red light. It is a nice printer, right? It's pretty fun. Okay, the first thing we need to do, of course, is take off this amazing plastic. I'm getting really close to the speaker. Hopefully you're all enjoying that sound. Ooh. ASMAR with Chris. The build surface is knockoff Anycubic Ultra Base. So it's just Ultra Base knockoff with some Ev Novo badging. and a 110 volt sticker that I'm removing. There goes the first layer test. Yeah, I'm supposed to print on that? So, all right, peel that sticker off. So like I said, I'm not going to use this build surface. I'm immediately going to a flex plate system. And of course, if I'm going to get a flex plate system, hey, Scalda, don't go to bed. It's really cool here. We're all really nice people. So I will say they do test print on this. So I had to test print the bag. There's some white filament goo on my nozzle, and there's a little mark here where a print was done. So there was a test print done on this. They test every printer, and the test print actually looks really nice. Fortunately, these white filament, so I won't be able to really like show off the details. Hey, RCCNC. But I would say, looking at the layer lines, and they definitely didn't get the first layer correct. They squished that down a little bit too much. The top layer looks good, but the layers look great. This is the little test print they made. And I just lost it. So we'll have to make a new test print. But like I said, I can't print on a non-flex plate. I'm just so used to flex plates. I find them to be far more versatile than a fancy thing. I'm anti-Magigoo unless you use a glass bed. Sorry, all those YouTubers that try to sell you Magigoo. I know your secret. Magigoo isn't that good. It's not as good as PEI all on its own. Unless, of course, you gotta print nylon, and then PEI is pretty much junk. Unless you put a lot of glue stick on there. So yeah, let's clean this thing off, because that's gonna be needing to be done. Because I'm gonna apply a magnetic bed surface onto this, and I'll get there. Let's do this. So I got my little spray bottle. Got a spray bottle. Got a I'm already in bed. What? So let's clean this thing off. Yeah. Being busy. Yeah, I've only found Magigoo works on bare glass for me. I find that once I add it on anything else, like a PEI, it's basically like, well, no, I won't hold anything for you. I'm bad at holding things. All right, so we're cleaning this thing off. And in one of my drawers, wow, that thing cleans up nicely. All right, in one of my drawers, I have some magic chemicals. There it is. Sorry for the extra noise. Focus on my face. There we go. Now it's focusing on my face. I got some Rapid Tack. Oh, it won't focus because my face in the way. Rapid Tack. So Rapid Tack is basically a wet applicator you put down. So if you need to put anything down on the bed, it's going to be like, oh man, I can still kind of reposition it, make sure it's golden, make sure there's no air bubbles in there. So we got that. We got our Magitac. Got this giant ruler. I have a bottle of 3D Gloop. I got it in my mystery box from UFO like 2 or 3 months ago. I haven't used it, but I do have a project that I'm doing, so I will try to, use it for that. So what are we doing? We're putting a wham bam. Putting a wham bam on this thing. Sorry for the horrible name. I don't know who was sitting there in R&D going, man, what should we call this? And their slogan is wham bam, thank you, man. And they make an amazing product. This thing is awesome, but for the love of goodness, that's just a name. It's just a name, Chris. It's just a really bad name. You cannot take this glass sheet off, because what they did was, to save weight, instead of putting a PCB heater and then putting the ultra base on top of that and having multi layers, they have the silicone heater adhered directly to the ultra base, and there's connectors glued or adhered somehow exactly to the ultra base's bottom. So the ultra base is the entire structure. That is it, which is pretty cool because glass is super flat. So, but yeah, haven't really messed with this thing yet. There's an instruction sheet. I've already read it. Throw that over there. And comes with this magnetic glue-on sticky thing that's 3M adhesed. Adhesed? Is that what you do when you... It's adhered, 3M adhered, adhesed. Comes with a sheet of PEX, which nobody in the world knows what PEX is. It's not PEX. So PEX is actually a product. You can actually buy PEX. It's a thing. And then it comes with this really shiny sheet that says Wham Bam on it. Look at that. So shiny and so perfect. That is a really nice sheet. And it's actually nice and thin. So flex is really good. Let's move these two out of the way. Yep, 300 by 300, Mr. Luis. All right, we've got our... We got to make sure it fits. It is the exact same size. Yep, so it's like 315 by 315, or some mumbo jumbo like that. So if you're looking to get that, I'll put the link in the description at some point. I really should have done that before the video. But I was doing yard work. If I look tan, do I look tan? I don't think I look tan. I was doing yard work and stuff. So, all right, let's spray some Rap Attack on here. Rap Attack. Rap Attack. It actually smells so good in a bad way. These magnets are good to 130 degrees Celsius. You do it. Hey, what's up, hackers? If you missed it, we're putting on a wham bam. Wham. It's hard to show. Wham, wham, bam. It's the magnet part. All right, let me get up. I got to get up in position here. It's got to be perfect. Boom! Now we'll go over it with the straight edge. Get all that Rap Attack out of there. You do it, yes. You're the only one in the entire world with only one printer. All right, clean that Rap Attack out of there. I actually nailed it on the first try, so I don't need to reposition anything. I just need to get all the Rap Attack out of there, which just helps you get into place. If you need to pop it off, it won't stick too hard, and you can readjust it. All right, but yeah, so the Wham Bam system, supposedly good to 130C. Nope, this build plate is not included. I ordered it directly from Wham Bam. I think it was like $100. Because I am, like I mentioned, and I'll mention it again. I'll mention it multiple times in a day. I'm so used to a flexible bed system that going back to a non-flexible bed system is just kind of scary. Like, how do you do that? How do you do that? Ooh, that is actually a really strong magnet. That would hurt. So, yep, they did a good job putting a magnet on there. So I'll throw away this paper towel. Don't worry, I do clean those up later. My basement isn't a complete pigsty. It's just partial. Why does it keep not focusing on my face? I think I'm going to lock this thing on manual focus for the rest of the day. But my camera's all the way over there. Silly camera. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to now apply the PEX, but first I got to clean this off. Not bad. Perfect. Yeah, it is a DSLR. It's an A7R3, but it's being angry right now. I have it further away than normal. So I apologize for focusing weird. Yeah, and I do need a dual camera. So that is on the list. I need an overhead because that would be super cool right now. I put some gloves on because I don't want to put any fingerprints on my freshly cleaned Wham Bammer. Wham Bam plate. Yeah, see, it's not focusing on my face until now. You silly camera. Normally I have it closer. This printer's so big I had to back my camera up. So, okay. Gloves are on. More rapid tack, and then we're going to apply the PEX sheet. So let me... Okay, that's aligned. No fingerprints. And slide this out of the way. I did it. Who lost internet connection and why? There we go. Clean this thing off. I gotta squeeze all the rapid tack out of there. That way the glue gets that better bond. Actually, I've never installed a Wham Bam before, but I've installed a lot of PEI sheets and a lot of decals. Yeah, overhead cameras are definitely awesome for this. Won't use that towel. Use a fresh one. Got a little bit more rapid tack to get out of there. I'll be right back. Wham bam. All right. So that was part 1 of the mods. That's basically all the mods I'm really going to do. Doing the top printer with a removable sheet. All right, let's see if anybody. Joshua, the only thing you should buy for it is just the essentials. Make sure that you have all the tools, you know, better than the ones that come in the kit. So get like some Allen key sets, some nice ball head ones, filament, you know, any spare things. I'd probably pick up a spare thermistor and a spare cartridge because people tend to break those. I break those constantly. All right. We have our PEX installed. We can wait for that to go ahead and do its thing. And we need to assemble this thing, I think. There's a very tiny installation manual. I usually just pick one up off Amazon. I actually got lucky that one of my local stores have a local hardware store that carries them. The bed will be fine. All right, step 1. Oh god, this is like a roadmap. These are the things I can't fold together again. Why am I still wearing these gloves? Step 1, find 4 M445s. Screw in the gantry. Step 2, attach the spool holder. Step 3, connect everything. And yeah, okay. Well, yeah, Sears used to be a good place for tools. Now, let's see, I think all the Craftsman stuff is at Lowe's now. So, all right. Yeah. All right. Let's connect this thing. First, now it did come with this cute little bag. Look at this little bag it came with. That's where everything goes. The Blue Prusa is printing more carbon fiber parts. I sell full Mark III, Mark III's and a Bear Mark III carbon fiber parts. So, ooh, Ace does sell nice things. Ace is the place, right? Is that the ad for them? All right. Well, I found the M445s. Looks like they give you 5. Ooh, they're definitely oiled. There's a little bit of lubricated oil on these things to make sure they don't rust, which is nice. So I need 4 of those. And I need to position this thing in a way where I can attach the X gantry. Oh boy. This thing's huge. Figuring this out is going to be fun. Let's see if I can science this thing. Did it. Okay. Now I'm going to put 4 of these things in there. Let's see here. They gave me Allen keys. There they are. Let's use those Allen keys. One screw. Ah, ah, ah. All right, this is actually pretty easy this way. I was watching Joel and Sean on 3D Maker Noob or 3D Printing Nerds channel, and Sean lost all the screws for his CR10S Pro or whatever. I'm not doing that today. We're not losing all the screws. I'm going to do better than that, I think. Now to the other side. This thing's actually fairly beefy. Tristan, the printer is going fantastic. It's taking a total of 4 screws to assemble the gantry, which is far easier than most printers that I put together. I mean, I did put together a CR10, which was, I think, the same. So, yeah, other than that, we put a wham bam plate on there, which was also super easy. Directions were swell. Good question. I think this thing can print just as good as any printer could. It may take some time. It may not. It may print better. But that's what we're going to find out. I keep seeing awesome prints out of this thing, so. Turn it on its side so I can get to the rest. Not the rest, but make sure all really well tightened in. I am out of bed. I have another table over there, so I'm good on bench space. This is why we stay up here for a while I'm testing it and calibrating profiles for it. So I think that was it for the screws. Now it's time to connect all the cables. Whoa, I'm getting my workout in. Don't even have to I don't have to go to the gym for the next couple days. I do 300 by 300 by 400, so I can finally print bigger. Okay. No idea where that one goes. Oh, that one must be for the Z-axis. I need a tiny tiny finger person. Ooh, that'd be a nice thing there to add a perch bucket on the bear. Yeah, the printer. I mean, the printer is pretty tall. I mean, it's 400 millimeters. I mean, it's like 2 Prusas. Yeah, I have questions on the ribbon cable myself, durability and longevity, but it's a printer. We'll find out. Let me get my tiny fingers in here. This is getting this Z-axis motor plugged in is a challenge in my dexterity. I did it. Okay, oh gosh, I gotta pick this thing up and flip it around. Joshua, the Prusa comes with the Bondtech gears, but is not a 3-to-1 Bondtech extruder. There we go. It does not have auto bed leveling. It is the one feature it's missing, besides a flex plate. Which you can argue flex plates aren't that essential. But ABL, that's, yeah. Ugh. But they did tease on their Twitter and on their Facebook that they are making a breakout board for the BL Touch. So that looks like it's coming soon. Yes. Change my ZN stop. Good. Yes. Masking tape is really a trial of patience. Actually, I will be adding auto bed leveling to this. Teaching Tech added a BL Touch to his, and he posted the firmware, and he created a mount for it, and everything else. So I will be following Teaching Tech. Mike, I believe is his name. Ooh, first print. That's gonna be tough. I don't know if I'm just gonna like put the memory card in and let it print one print first, and then I'm gonna make a profile and print something else, or I don't know. We'll figure that out. Maybe we'll put a vote. Some people will put suggestions on what the first print is. Remember, it's got to be about 30-minute print, so nothing too crazy. Something small, maybe not a benchy. A headphone could print a Chris. That's not a bad idea. I heard print a Chris. Yes. Yes. We're almost there, Chris. Ooh, yeah. Here's a Z limit switch. I should probably install this, huh? I'm a silly guy. All right. Look at that wrapped up so nicely. Okay. Hey, no problem, 3D Jimmy. Chris Riley in the house. Now, there's the real Chris. The original Chris in the basement. Chris Riley. I'm just lowering the bed down as low as it'll go. All right. I have one of these Allen keys over here. Okay. That looks nice. Okay. Okay, I think we're ready to put on. Can't see it up here, but I got to put a filament spool holder up here. So let me stand back up. I'm going to install that, and I'll be right back. All right. Must find other screws. There they are. I did it. I'll probably do a reverse Bowden. It already has a Titan arrow little thing here, so it's got a PTFE tube here. So running a PTFE from here all the way up here wouldn't be a bad idea. I don't think there's room for a side-mounted spool, so it might just stay a frame-mounted. This thing's huge looking. There is enough metal on this thing to make all kinds of things. All right. So it's on to the least favorite part, which is adjusting these eccentric nuts. The x-axis is good. The belt is a little loose. So this has little adjusters here on each end, so I can adjust the belt on there. Belt on the Y is nice. So I'm going to adjust. Yeah, I need to adjust the eccentric on this one as well. So one here, and the bed. The bed is definitely wobbly. So I need to set that. So let me spin this thing around. I guess I'll do the Z-axis here real quick since I'm here. So let's go ahead and let's see, where did that tool go? I'm not being organized with all these tools, and I knocked over my skull full of screwdrivers. Well, full of Allen keys and yeah, my 3D printer tools. All right, one skull move over there. There we go. All right. So this is pretty interesting. It moves really well. I think I'm going to keep it with I might put a real Titan arrow on here. So what I'll probably end up doing is putting a legitimate Titan arrow on here and learning that magical thing. Okay, so the Z-axis is good, X-axis is good. Just got to do the Y-axis. Done. Boom, 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 boom. I'm gonna do a quick double check and clean everything off. Make sure everything's attached. And then we'll power this thing up. Focus on me? Oh, it focused on me finally. Let's see. Ooh, it's Brian Vines. We got all the cursors. Turn that off real quick. I don't know why it was already on. Okay. We do need to adjust the belt. This belt, as you can see, is flippy floppy. It is one of those amazing wham bammers. I puts it on there today. Okay, let's adjust this thing. All right, one tightened belt. Now I can turn it on. Hee hee. Home. Oh, we'll find out if I crash. Ha! It works. All right. Tristan, I saw that set up on the Kickstarter with the PI. I don't know if it was successful or not. All right. Let's see other cool things I can do here. Oh, I put home again. It is not rubbing the frame. What it's doing is it's actually taped to a certain point. That way it doesn't flex all the way off. And it's actually covered in some kind of nylon fabric. Oh, that's cool. Okay, I got to show you this. Hold on one second. So this thing actually has an LED light under here. Not only is it an LED light, it comes in multicolors. So check this out. Here's a white light. Wait, maybe this? That's a blue light. White light, red light, green light, blue light. So that can run while you're printing. Boom. All right, let's make sure the bed heats up. All right, send the bed to 60. I also need to change the nozzle. NAC 3D, I don't know if it changes while it's printing. Maybe. Bernie Lob, the Wham Bam is supposedly guaranteed to 130, so your 110 should be just fine. Yeah, Tristan, if you can post a link, that would be awesome. All right, so I'm heating up the bed right now. It is getting warm. I just want to get it set and let all the glue set. So I'm going to get this thing up to 100 degrees Celsius, get all the glue to set nice. I don't think it tells me to do that. I didn't actually read the directions. But I've got the brains. I've messed up before. All right, so we can get the bed to 100. And while we're doing that, I'm going to raise the Z a little bit. I'm going to get the nozzle heated up to about 230. I'm going to swap the nozzle. I've got a really nice nozzle I want to put in. I picked up a P3D coated nozzle, so I'm going to replace the Chinese volcano nozzle with a P3D volcano nozzle. So let's lift the Z up. And actually, I'll get the nozzle started heated. And let's get this thing up to 240 degrees. All right. I'll let that bake. Oh, yeah, it's getting nice and warm. I'll get that glue nice and set. It will remove any of that wrap attack that might be in there. And we will have a pretty nice, yeah, the bubbles are already starting to form. So that's good. Luis, this has a PTFE lined hot end. So you don't want to heat that past like 250, 260. So I'm just doing 240. That should be fine because it's an aluminum block. I'll find out in a second if it's too tight or too loose. Now let me just find my tools to remove nozzles with. And that thing's way too far forward. There we go. No Nozzle X. We're going with this a standard coated brass nozzle from P3D. Yeah, I wish it was all metal, but it's easy enough to switch. The heat break is accessible, so you can change that out. I squeezed most of it out, and the directions on a wrap attack are at least 15 minutes. So, yep. Ooh. That's a worm. I've been out in the yard the last 2 days building a retention wall behind the pond. So, yeah. Yeah. Hey, look, it does the thing that the Prusa printers do. It's making my lights flicker when it's all the way heated up. Yeah, I think that's build tax instructions. Kickstarter show. Okay, that's heating up. That's good. And then nozzles to temp. So let me grab my tools and I'll pop that nozzle off. If I can find my tools. I got more behind me. I would grease the bearings don't actually come grease on a Prusa, so just pick up some Super Lube multi-purpose. I believe the model number is 21030. Pick it up on Amazon. I think it's like $12 for a tube, and you can print an injector cap for it. Which, if you don't have a printer, that would suck. You can see if someone on the Prusa community page can print that for you and ship it, and that will get you going for that. All right, Brian, you enjoy that lunch. Going to the beach just means sand gets everywhere, like literally everywhere. Oh yeah, we'll let that cook for a little bit longer. Let's go get the nozzle tools. All right. Let's get this nozzle off here. Let's see if it's easy or not. So let's see. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Okay. Yep, that was the correctness. Oh my goodness, it has a large bore in there. Yeah, that is a completely different setup in there. I'm gonna definitely get rid of that nozzle. Get out of there. I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, it'd be impossible. I'll have to post a picture somewhere. You know, eventually it gets warm. All right, we have a nozzle change. We can now let that cool down. And now we're heating it to 200 Celsius on the hot end. And I'm going to go get a spool of filament. What kind of filament should I use? Oh my gosh. These are tough questions. Surrounded by filament. I think I'll know what to put in there. Unfortunately, because that is well, I don't have, that's a V1. It's a version 1 volcano. And I only have volcano version 2 hot end condoms. So unfortunately, I can't do that. I want to put a filament in there that I can see if there's any issues. So I'm going to grab some filament 1 light blue, which is right over here. I'll definitely be able to tell if there's any print issues with this filament. Silver. That is also a good choice. All right. It's loaded. So I guess now, have I tried the mosquito? I have tried it. Is it worth it? It all depends on what you're going to use it for. Well, unfortunately, white filament is just bad filament to begin with. Come on now. Let's see. The nozzle stuff I sent directly to E3D, and I've also sent them directly to my machinists, and we're still gathering more data points. So I have them. The people that need to have them, and then once I have time and people that are actually good at understanding them, will give us more details. But in the long run, the Nozzle X isn't perfect in terms of machining. It's really good. What we saw with digital cameras, whether it be an SLR or phone camera, wasn't a defect of the camera. It's just the way the light plays on the coating. Basically, the coating pools at the tip, and it leaves these little bumps and ridges, and the light hits it very oddly. So it's not going to detract from your printing quality per se, because it's going to wear or fall off, or it might not be there. It just, again, it's a nozzle to nozzle, how much stuff pools at that side. Other nozzles that were coated were much better in that coating aspect. So like Slice Engineering's nozzle and these P3D nozzles that are made here in America, their coatings didn't pool at the tip, so they don't have that weird aberration. So I don't think personally that there's going to be any issue, but it does show that there is a better way of making a nozzle. So Nozzle X isn't bad. What we saw wasn't just because we use cell phones. There is a reason we saw the aberrations we saw. And once we have more data points, we can, have a much more intelligent conversation about it. Yeah, Mark 3S. Someone needs to make a better heating thingy. All right, let me wipe that off. Where's the memory stick? It takes USB. But first I have to set the bed level height. But I'm going to stick this in here anyway. Okay, that goes in there. And we're going to go to the first probe point. It's not a probe point, it's just the first point. And then I will set the height of the first layer. Second. Third. Fourth. First again. Got a goober on my nozzle. All right, we'll adjust from there. Okay. Does Slice have a volcano equivalent? I don't think so. I think they only make one for a V6 for a normal V6. Nozzle X has a volcano equivalent. Oh, they do have a equivalent hot end. I was thinking nozzle. Correct. There is a Magnum. So there's a Mosquito Magnum. Ooh, look at that. It's turning blue for when it's heating up, I think. No idea if that's why it's turning blue. So I'll wait for that first layer to start. And then I'm going to slice something and make a profile. And I think there was a little card that has like, oh yeah, how to use the slicer. And it's even got the settings. I can copy whatever settings it has. So I can use those as base. I have not been working for 12 straight hours. Luis, go take a break. You should watch some YouTube. It's a really good break. RC3 is RCCNC. I use the Elite. So I'm a little bit off of the build plate here. I'm not the most experienced manual bed leveler. There we go. Yeah. I did it by eyeball. Didn't even use the piece of paper. Probably wasn't the smartest thing ever. Yeah, have I checked my Live Z? That's why I will be installing an ABL on this thing, because for goodness me, oh my, I feel like I am worthless without one. Looks like it's over extruding just a touch. Which there's no way of changing your extrusion rate on here. All right. Test your infinite Z. Okay, let's make a profile. Let's slice something for this. Yeah, I definitely need a second camera. So that's happening. Let's see here. My Patreon, my patrons on Patreon have been really good to me. So adding a second camera would be amazing. Hey, what's up, Robin? Let's see what kind of settings it has here. Okay. Let me open up Slicer here. Slicer, where are you, Prusa Slicer? The fan is a little loud, but it's not bad. I can live with it. Okay. That thing's going. I'm no longer worried about it. I will adjust the bed level on my own later. I have one video on 2.0 RC. It has one bug in it for Apple users, and so it makes it kind of doesn't work very well for me. I can't change the heat temperature. I guess there's a way to do it. If you click it, type, click away, type, click away, because it keeps re-highlighting the whole thing. But I mean, it's the same thing besides some cool new features over beta 2. So I'm going to be using beta 2 today. So I've got beta 2 open. I'm going to screen share with everybody. I won't be able to read the chat, unfortunately, in screen share because I don't have a second monitor hooked up. But what I'm going to do is let that print. Unfortunately, I wish I had a second camera. You guys can be like, oh, look. Watching that cool print go. Let me bring this thing closer to me. There we go. And of course, I'm on top of something. There we go. Okay. So let's bust open Slicer. Let's make a profile. I'm just going to make a safe profile. Turn my microphone. Put my puff filter. Puff. There we go. All right. And where is my screen share button? There it is. And share. All right, here we go. We are screen sharing. We're going to make a profile. So let's go ahead and make a new printer. So add a new printer. We're going to go to custom printer, define a custom printer profile. And my settings, we're going to call that thing, we'll just call it the artillery, no, SW-X1 PLA. And next firmware is going to be Marlin. And next, it is a 300 by 300. Next, and nozzle diameter is a 0.4. Filament diameter is 1.75. Temperature extrusion 60. And next, finish. All right. Well, that's just silly. Oh, there we go. All right, there's my 300 by 300 by 300 print surface. Oh, well, actually, it's 400. Let's go to printer settings because we have to adjust the height. So max print height is 400 in the Z. No Z offset. Extruder is 1. We don't have any host. It does not support silent mode. I don't think it supports time remaining. Use relative E distances. I believe it does use relative. We'll set that. Nope and nope. And custom G code. Oh boy. Look at these lame custom G codes it adds in automatically. So let's hit save. Let's steal our custom G code from a different printer. I'm going to steal it from my Abrams printer by RC CNC. So boom. Let's steal all this and go back to SXXW, whatever, and V. So, all right, we're going to extrude in relative mode. We're going to set the bed temperature, set the extruder temperature. We will not do any home axes. We will not do any mesh bed leveling. So this goes away to here. And this, Command X. Boom. Actually, that could have stayed. Paste. All right. And then go outside the print area and print. We don't have a -3 of Y, so Y 0 and Y 0. Purge bubble, intro line. Okay, save that. And we'll go back to the Abrams. And we'll steal this little bit. Command C. So yeah, copy. Go back to here. And V. And gotta hit save. Yeah, it sucks I have to just copy and paste all these things. And then, sure, it's faster than me trying to remember it all. Boom. Save. Abrams. Boom. And, ugh. Should have just copied one of my other ones. No, I'm over here wanting to be all fancy and make my own profile, which, I mean, it's just copying. I would have just copied everything anyway. All right. Boom. Okay, that part's done. Now I can actually do stuff without copying and pasting. So machine limits, 500, 500. That's good. These are all safe values. We'll drop this thing down to 5,000, not 50, 5,000. Jerk will be 8, and 8 sounds good for now. Good. Extruder 1. Yep. Extruder offset to nope. Length of retraction. It has a PTFE lined thingy. So I'm going to start at 2 millimeters. And let's see what they have on theirs for retraction. Do they have anything on here for retraction that they have set on their own? No. No. These have got tamps and feed rates. Oh, there it is. Retraction speed. Oh, that's manual extrusion. There's the speed. But there's no... They do not show any settings for retraction. So we're going to go ahead and just pick 2 millimeters if that's too much. Easy enough. Retraction speed. 40 is fine. Extra length and restart. Yep. Retract on layer change and wipe while retracting. And boom. Notes none. Dependencies none. Save. Filament settings. 1.75 extrusion multiplier. 0.95. We'll start there. Extruder. We'll start at 210. And we'll print at 215. And 65 for the rest of the layers. Cooling. 35 to 100. Bridge fan, speed 100. Enable fan. Advanced. PLA. Volumetric speed limit is going to be 30. Because it is a volcano. Custom G code. Nope. And okay. Print settings. Layer height, 0.2. First layer height, 0.25. I like taller layer heights on these. You got to do your own printer things. Solid layer, bottom 4, top 0.2 times 5. That would be 1 millimeter. So you want at least a millimeter on your top. Extra perimeters, detect thin walls, off. Scene position aligned. Infill, stars. We're going to go ahead and go with gyroid. And rectilinear, 10% infill is a good start. Blah, blah, blah. Skirt and brim. We need 2 loops. And distance from object 6 millimeters. Skirt height, 2 layers. Support material. That can be done later. Speeds. So here's the fun stuff. So let's see. Perimeters. Oh boy. 60 is a good start on this printer. It does have a volcano. Its test print is going very fast. Small perimeters, 15 is fine. External perimeters at half speed of that. I'm going to do 35 millimeters per second. Infill at 80 is fine. Solid infill will match external perimeters. No. Solid infill will be at 60. Top solid infill will match external perimeters, just 35, so that has the same sheen. Support material. I like to print that slower. Bridges. That's pretty good for PLA. I'm going to do 80. Gap fill 20. 100 is safer. First layer speed is definitely 20 millimeters per second. Blah, 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 blah. And blah, blah, blah. Advanced. Ooh. 0.45. 0.45. 0. I wish the tab key worked. Infill 0.45. Solid infill 0.45. And then if you want those top layers to fill in better, 0.42. And support. Oh, I don't have it enabled. 25% infills or overlaps fine. Output options. Input file name. So we're going to call this SXW. Wait. Artillery Sidewinder X1 underscore PLA underscore. And boom. Save. Filament settings were saved. Okay. I'm going to go back to the chat real quick and stop the screen share. All right, let's see what happened in here. All right. Oh, boy. Blah, 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 blah. Does anyone have to do a... I do not have that issue, Tristan, with my duet. My 2 duets. Why would you use... I don't know why I'm not using G28. I could. I should. I probably will change that as a good thank you for that. This is Keith. 3D printing llama. I also did a BLT today. That was my lunch. And yeah, if I had that silly second camera, it's happening. I promise. That's a really smooth print. I got that downward light on it. So it's like, wow, you want to know if you have uneven extrusion? You can tell because there's this big, hard downward light. It's really looking just fine. I mean, that is looking really fine. Okay. Cube is going. All right. Where is my mini Chris hiding? So command new. Let's find mini Chris. Where is that hiding? There it is, Chris mini. I'll print that. Boom, Chris mini. Look at that. So we'll print me. And then we're going to add a brim for sure. And see how long that will take. I'm going to do a quick slice right now to see how long that will take. 1 hour and 17 minutes. That's not bad. I can chit-chat for that long. I can definitely chit-chat for that long. Okay. I can also hit the speed up button on the controls. So let me go take a look one more time. So let's go back to screen sharing mode. Hey, what's up, Kill Creations? All right. Screen share. Okay. So we're slicing a mini me. And this was made by Vedran. It's pretty darn sweet. It's free on my Patreon if you want to download it. So you should. It makes an awesome benchy. So I need to add a brim because that likes to fall off. So brim width 2 millimeters, 4 millimeters. Let's do a 4 millimeter brim. That will do just fine. Print settings, custom G code, G28, home. And everything else looks good. There's a purge strip. Dun, 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 dun. So, you know, I'm going to set that Y to 5 to be safer because I don't know. I haven't checked to see if the nozzle actually goes outside of the bed area or not. So maybe a Y10 just to be safe. So I could do the little purge strip. Turn off, retract, disable motors. Everything else looks fine and dandy. Okay. So save that again. So let's see. Extruder relative, bed temp, bed level, or yeah, set the bed temp, set the nozzle to 160. Park. Get the purge bubble. Once I get a BL touch on here, this will change. So don't worry about me doing this weird nonsense. That might be confusing. But that makes sense to me. All right. Everything else looks good. And slice again. Yep, there's our brim. There's our feet. We are good to go. Let's make sure the fan is set to 100% the whole time. Let me take a look at something real quick. Filament settings. Let's look at Brady BLA. And cooling. I always have it 100% with the fan turned off on the first layer, 100% for bridging. 100 seconds, 10 and 10. Okay, we'll copy that. And keep fan always on. Yeah, that probably makes sense. So let's go back to here. Fan always on. Minimum is 100. Which fans do we want to disable for the first layer? Enable fan 100 is below. Slow down is below. Yep. And minimum print speed. Yes. Save. Okay. Platter. Slice again. Hour and 10 minutes. Well, I added hour and 24 because I added a brim. Ooh. Let's make it smaller. Let's make it smaller. So let's go back. Let's go ahead and shrinky dink you just a little bit. Yeah, we'll do it like a 90% me. There we go. Slice now. And hour and 12 minutes. I saved a whole 12 minutes. That's fine. Export G code. And let's go into 3D printing and to print and export. I guess save. Okay. Stop sharing. Hello. All right. The blue LED does look really cool, and I can change the color. Never mind. It's whatever I set it to in the beginning. So I'm stuck at blue or white at the moment. Or on or off, I guess. We are 86% done. And you have okay, Bruce, you have a box of rail core and you're here. If I had a box of rail core, y'all would be watching me build a rail core. Not a wham bam artillery man. I gotta admit, this is printing really nice. Those layers look very nice. I hopped onto their Facebook and I looked at any of the issues that, common issues people were having. And it looked like some were some Z banding and some were some minor issues and stuff like that. So it doesn't look like I'm experiencing any of this. It does have a lot of active cooling underneath. I can feel fan blowing from underneath and that side. Nothing in the back. Ooh, I would love to do a live multi-build, like everyone build a printer online. But it has to be something a little bit more complicated than this. And I can't even see this because it's so tall. It does have a filament sensor, by the way. So there's a filament runout sensor that's on a little swing arm. And there's a little LED light on it that tells you that it's loaded. So it's connected directly to the spool, and it's got a little swivel arm, so it doesn't stay stuck in one spot and cause a snag anywhere. Those retractions look a lot bigger than 2 millimeters, but I'm just guessing. Maybe they are about 2 millimeters. It's tough to tell. It's a 3-to-1 gearing, so when it does a retraction, it's a lot bigger. It's 3 times more of a retraction, so it is a sweet printer. I mean, just looking at the general quality off the SD card, that's really nice. Like, I lost my other cube. And can you stand on it? No, I will. This is not a stand-on printer. It looks pretty sturdy, but it has no bracing. So the Z is where it is. Yep, the Z. Yep. There's nothing to protect it from dummies like me from standing on it and then snapping it in half. So that keep going. Look at that. It finished in 27 minutes. It is very slightly under extruded. Let me get my brim remover. Should call my elephant foot remover. Definitely doesn't want to remove a full brim. There we go. Maybe I dulled it. I used it on some CF parts the other day. The time already for another blade for this thing. So yeah, so top layer, side layers are gorgeous. There's very little inconsistencies in the side layers. I mean, this is probably the nicest layers I've ever seen in terms of consistency. And my live Z was too low. Okay. Whoop. I lost another print. Okay. So let's go ahead and pull this little guy out here back. Pull this thing out. And let's get ourselves this file loaded up. Keep losing prints over here. I'm a bad man. All right. SD card is, or thumb drive is loading. Command new. And 3D printing. No, I don't want to use you as a backup drive. Silly computer. To print. And SW-X1 PLA Chris Mini. We'll find out if I'm good at making profiles or not. All right. I have not figured out the Marlin 2.0 for the the SKR V3 board. So, or V1.3 board. I have not. It's making me sad. All right. No. I figured out Marlin 2.0 for the INC Retro. I figured it out for an MKS Gen L board. I figured it out for, yeah, for those two boards, I figured it out. Not figured it out for that. Okay, I'm going to clean this sheet too because I made a mess of it. Uh-oh. I better be ready. I'm going to stay over here and be ready. Let me hiding in the corner over here. First layer stare. Ha! It's working. Was it me sounding creepy or was it the printer sounding creepy? But yeah, that first layer stare, man, I got a strong first layer look. Like, no joke, I'm worried. You know, I get really worried on a new printer. Like, I don't want to destroy my brand new bed. Still a little close to the nozzle on that side. This side is just a touch high, touch low. And it looks like I guessed the retractions correct. All right, there we go. It's going. It's going to go. So let's chat. Let's talk about this thing. So, there we go. All right. So we have an Evnovo / artillery SW-X1, a 300 by 300 by 400 in the Z Cartesian printer. As you can see, bed moves this way, X and Y moves X to Z, X, and then the Z goes this way. The LED light is awesome. It has LED powers. It has an actual blower fan for the exhaust. Typical Creality printers have a 40 by 40 by 10 little tiny blower fan. This actually has a nice beefy blower fan with a looks like an ABS injection molded shroud. It has a full 40 millimeter 40 by 40 by 10 cooling fan on a clone. It's kind of a rip-off Titan Aero. 3-to-1 gearing. So this is a direct drive 3-to-1 geared Titan Aero Volcano hot end. Volcano version 1. So it has the older glass bead thermistor. But it does have a breakout board. I can easily swap that in for a stock E3D hot end, which I did. I put a P3D heat break or hot end in there, or nozzle in there. I'm going to add I do have a stock Volcano heat block. I'll put a heat break in there. It is beefy rails. The rails on the X and Y looks like to be 20 by 60. The Z Gantry is all 20 by 40 extrusion, which if you have a bare Prusa, you know that it has a pretty beefy frame. This has it in the X, or on the Z Gantry. Does have a filament runout sensor. It has these nice ribbon cables that make it look real sleek and beautiful. It runs on both micro SD and USB. It doesn't look like there's any Ethernet, so this thing could be hooked up to my Repetier server. Touchscreen is actually very responsive. 24 volt. I have not cracked this thing open to see how well the electronics are put together. I will give it a well, this is Mr. Keith, and we'll just say Artillery. Artillery, the brand, they've already hinted at a breakout board that has the add-on. I'm guessing they'll just make a different ribbon cable. So they'll make it as an add-on. It does have power recovery. It has dual Z-axis, and the Z-axis is actually at the top. I didn't show anybody this. It is belted at the top. That way they don't desync. I don't know if that's a benefit or not. It can print. It has from the marketing that I read. It looks like they invented their own stepper driver. That doesn't lose torque at 1/256 microstepping. So it does sound different. And I don't know if it's running in a stealth chop or a spread cycle mode. I think it is a spread cycle mode because it doesn't sound as smooth and quiet as like a 2208 running in stealth chop. It definitely sounds like a spread cycle chip and running at 256 interpolation. We are printing a mini me because I have a mini me. So I do have the flex plate on there. It comes with stock. It comes with a basically a knockoff Ultra Base, so a textured glass bed. I am not a fan of those textured surfaces, so I got the Wham Bam flex plate system. Let's see here. What else does it have? So power recovery, 24 volt, blah, blah, blah. It is printing really smooth, by the way. The layers look really nice. We'll find out the cooling's very good because the underside of Mini-Me is a very difficult thing to print. So it might mess up there. It might not. The fan looks more than capable. It is very easy to replace the fans because it has a breakout board. You can literally just pop this little cover off, get to the breakout board, rewire whatever you want. This looks like a 30 by 30 by 20 blower. Yeah, 30 by 30 by 20 blower. It is very quiet. I'm going to bring the microphone over there. It sounded like my auto gain kicked in. So you kind of heard the rush of the fan, but yeah, that fan is, you can hear. I'm wearing my headphones, so it's actually super quiet. But both the 4040 and the blower fan are both high powered. They're high RPM, so they are a little loud. I would say, you know, not as loud as like a Mark IIs. Like it's definitely not as loud as a stock E3D 30 by 30 blower. So it's in between like a Mark III and something that has like a stock blower on it. Well, if you heard nothing, that's good. My headphones, I heard a little bit. Yeah, the print quality is very good. I know I launched the print over here. I mean, just eyeballing it, it makes layer lines that are much smoother than a stock Prusa Mark III. In fact, I would say these are smoother than a Mark IIs. Retractions are very good. And I don't see any mohair, but this size is very hard to see. Oh, my filters kill it. Good. Shots fired. It's not really shots fired. Again, I would never use this as a production printer. I would definitely use it for making fun, cool things. But the print quality is very good. Just to summarize, the packing, I would say is an 8 out of 10. It was very well packed. Everything was, zip tied together, tightened. It doesn't look like they would have very many shipping mistakes. The build experience, I would say, is probably like a 7. It was very easy, but there are definitely some things I would tweak. I've already noted some things. Like I'd love a much better belt tensioner on both the X and Y. I would also like to have a more positive click when you get the ribbon cable in, because putting the ribbon cable in on the Z over here was actually a pain. The fan that exhausts down here could be a little quieter. So, I mean, there's definitely some little things to fix for something that's completely built for you. There's some very minor tweaks. And I would be even, instead of racing to the bottom and putting in a Titan clone, I would just put a Titan on here and everything else keep it the same. Like at least put the legitimate hot end on here, because I think the people would really like, a real Titan arrow on here. It did take a while to get here. Mine got stuck in customs forever. It took about a week to ship, and then it got stuck in customs for a week. And then it took like 3 days to get here once it shipped from customs. So it was about 17 days. And that's including weekends. I mean, not weekdays, not business days. They have stock in America now. You can pick this up from alien3d.us, the guy who makes the alien box, the UFO box. Here's my Easter box. Inside some filament and a comic book and some kind of project but I haven't looked at what the project is because I'm really bad at that. This is $400 for all that. So for me, I consider this a Creality TiVo killer. For $400, you're getting quite the setup. The touchscreen is tiny but very responsive. It comes with a 1 gig card, which is, you know, I would like to see a larger, like a 4 gigabyte. You know, that would have been Iron 8. I mean, at least the Prusa Mark III comes with an 8 gig card. I will have to do that. Brian over there with all the knowledge. So yeah, I mean, it's really hard to place this. I think this is kind of placed in an area where if you want really good print quality, but you're not expecting to get, you know, again, it doesn't have auto bed leveling. There are some features that are missing, like I can't adjust flow rate while it's printing. I can adjust the fan speeds, but I can't adjust flow rate. I mean, there's little things on here that I'm noticing that I would like some changes to, but they're not major changes. So, Nick, have a wonderful evening. Thanks for coming by. But overall, it's a very nice printer for the money. I mean, $400 gets you a lot. This is, you know, name me another $400 printer that has a direct drive that's geared 3-to-1. I mean, that's just not a normal thing. So, and again, looking at the print cube using just the SD card, it's very good. The prints are really good. Top layer is over extruded because unfortunately this is just the SD card and I couldn't change it. How will the ribbon cable hold up? And I am also on the fence on that. But again, I think about things that have ribbon cables like that. So like your scanners and anything that has a moving object on it typically ends up being a ribbon cable. Now they are exposed, but they are covered. They have this very nice texture to them. So I think if you're not rough on your machines, the ribbon cable will most likely only be damaged by your own self. I don't think they're just going to break on their own. So not too concerned, but if you're someone who's, you know, a little rough on their equipment, I would say be very careful with any snips. Like, oh man, I want to cut some filament, and you're like all the way over here, like snipping the ribbon cable, or you drop stuff a lot. Yeah, you know, and the extrusion is anodized after the cutting, so it looks very pretty. So very a la LDO. That print quality is really good, though. I just have to say, I'm just going to keep repeating that. The print quality is very good. Just looking at the feet, since you can actually see what I'm printing because it's got a light. Which again, I think that's a really cool feature. As gimmicky as it sounded when I saw it, I'm like, man, I can actually see what I'm printing. And it has that light that shows me how bad my print could be. I can't believe I nailed by sound and look, I nailed the retraction rate. The delta is in hibernation. I put up a question on my Patreon, and I'm going to build it tall. I'm going to buy the extrusion to make it about 800 millimeters in the Z. So I'm getting like 1100 millimeter extrusion and some magnetic ball arms. And I have a smart effector. Somebody's going to pimp out that delta. So the delta is in hibernation mode until then. Now the community for this is small. So that's another big thing. Like when you compare printers like Creality or Prusas or even TiVo or Anycubic, their communities are pretty large. I mean, Creality and Prusa communities are gigantic. I believe they're under 1,000 people in the Facebook community for the official page. I could be wrong. Maybe it's 1,700. It's either under 1,000 or under 2,000. I can go check. So, you know, you don't get that big support community. And there's a lot of questions. I noticed that the page had a lot of questions, and there are people who are tinkering. So there's people making mods, which is one of my favorite things. I didn't buy this to mod it out, but there are some, quality of life things. Like, I'd rather not have to, use the crazy, the glass bead thermistor. I'd rather go to a cartridge thermistor, and I'd rather put an official E3D heater cartridge in there and an official volcano everything, and remove the Titan knockoff on here. I'd rather have a legitimate Titan arrow on here. And yeah, it actually nailed the bridging. So it nailed the hardest part on this print, which is the bridging. So, yeah, it's doing. I'm actually quite impressed. As long as like it doesn't freak out in the middle of this print, we're doing really well. So who's got questions? I will take questions. If you can focus them on this thing, but I will take any questions. My next project is to finish some other projects. So I've been building a profile for ABS for the Prusa printers, and I realized it was a futile battle, because I don't have an enclosure. So certain things like overhangs and stuff were suffering dearly. Also, they do include a spare ribbon cable. I just noticed this. There's a spare ribbon cable in here. There's a spare LED. There's spare wheels. So if your wheels wear out, there's 5 spare wheels. There's a tiny USB cord. Oh, did I mention this is running on a stock MKS Gen L board? So if you want to tweak anything in Marlin, you can just rip open Marlin and make a firmware for the MKS Gen L. Yeah, the extruder is going to be easy, and because the motor's already mounted far enough away that I believe a Titan arrow would just mount directly to that. The only issue I see is if it doesn't fit between the fan shroud, because there's a plate that holds this special fan shroud in. The cooling is doing great, by the way. Oh man, lithos are always the first layer. I think I stare at lithos for the first 10 layers, because I'm like, don't start warping. Don't start warping, because once a litho warps, it's like game over. It's not going to finish. It's just going to snap off at some point and cause spaghetti monsters to grow from your printer. But yeah, but back to my next project. My next project is finishing. That's a Duet powered Mark III. It's basically done. I'm just going to put a BL touch on there. Josh Jones, Vertigo 235 or Vertigo something. You're going to have to, do some magic on there and put his printed part on there. Puts a BL touch on there. So, Michael Fox, do you know the correct specs for the lead screw T-nuts, the MK3? The T-nuts are, if you go to Printed Solid, they carry the exact palm nut. Unfortunately, nobody makes that palm nut besides the company who makes that motor, which is LDO, at least to my knowledge. I think you might be able to pick them up like on AliExpress, but if you need them and you're in America, or I think if you're in Europe, you can get them from Zerabo.com, Zerabo.org, one of the two. I can't recall exactly what website they use. And then it is a T8 by 8 lead screw. So T8 star 8 lead screw, 2mm pitch. But yeah, they don't make the only place I've ever been able to find those Printed Solid. They carry them both in Peak and in Palm. Peak are $20 each. So I'm just warning you now, but Peak will last 100 times longer, but wearing out a palm nut is pretty difficult unless you're really bad at printing. Yep, TR 8x8 palm nut. Oh, Tristan. Well, the print quality looks great. It's just that my basement is about 18 degrees Celsius at all times. So, between 17 and 18. So when it comes to making a bridge or an overhang, no matter what setting I use, they break apart and they droop or do something really crazy. And everybody that's looked at it is like, you should probably get an enclosure. That will help you out. I mean, I printed probably 40 of the same fan shroud and the same area just kept failing no matter what. I mean, it looked identical. I can change it extreme one way or extreme the other. I'm literally watching it physically. Yep, it's printing differently. Fail. So I was either going to do like a ghetto box, like I was just going to get like a photo booth, stick it in there, or put it in a cardboard box and see if it prints better, and then invest into a actual enclosure, or I was just going to get an enclosure. So you could add a couple of centimeters, but I think it also bottoms out at the wire wrap. It's very close there. Good night, Bernie. Yeah, if you're doing the bare build, get them directly from Printed Solid. Unless I don't know if anyone AliExpress sells them. So I mean, they'll be a lot cheaper, and if you're not in a rush. But the official ones, those are cut exactly. So I will. Yes, Barry, I can do that. I have all the files saved. I'll send you my first few because they should print fine. I literally stared at them. But yeah, I can send over. It's just the you can even find it yourself. You head to prusa3d.com and head over to the printable files. It's just the Mark III's fan shroud. Still printing pretty. Looks like I'll be able to post a PLA profile on the Facebook page today. Boy, I should probably think of something big to print. I've never had a printer besides the CR10 that was this big. And I ended up just not liking my CR10. It printed fine. Didn't print this nice. I will say this printed a lot better than my CR10. It prints better than my Ender 5. Neil, so the light setup underneath here, the better look on that. They actually give you a spare LED. Printer really big. It is a 3-color RGB robot ink girl little LED. Yeah, just a little LED board, and it plugs right into a breakout board they have underneath there. So that's all it is. Pretty fancy. So I like that they gave me a spare in case I set it on fire, because apparently they think that people are probably going to set it on fire. But a really tall crisp would be fun. I need to become comfortable with the PEX sheet first. So far, it looks like it's doing great. I don't see any warping. I mean, I am using a brim on this print because those tiny feet. Printing those tiny feet and not and actually trusting the PEX would have probably been better. But I kind of want to finish this so I can take some pictures. But the print quality looks really good. So I really do like the design. I really think that's a genius idea to put that breakout board right with the extruder. It reminds me of the smart effector from Duet, where all of the connections are right on that board. So 2 thermistors and 2 whatever, and fan 1, 2, and all that stuff. Phil, there will be a new Bondtech coming out with the Mark III's sensor built in. It's been in the works for a while. It's just making sure nothing changes. There's been, a lot of delay, well, let's make sure Prusa doesn't change anything. And I believe it's just going to be the back half. So the front half will stay the same. The back half will just need to be changed out. So they've done a really good job. This thing's really shaking the table now. I'm guessing that bed's kind of heavy. Jonathan, why is it not worthy of a production cluster? Um, One, it doesn't have a bed leveling sensor. So one thing I've noticed with when I had my CR10, it was always finicking with the bed. I couldn't just like go to Octoprint or Repetier and hit print and know that it's just going to print right away. I wasn't going to have that issue. Just it's just going to work every time. I really trust my Prusas because every Prusa I have down here, I can literally not be in the room, hit print, and know it's going to work. I don't even watch the first layers anymore unless it's something tricky. But for all the stuff that I do, it's not very tricky, and I never have to watch it. This does have some design things I need to make sure are good, which is that belted Z, and also how stable is this on tall? Because if I was going to use this thing, I'd definitely push it for printing tall things. But it looks like it's keeping up the speed. This is about what I normally would print at on my Mark III for quality prints. So about 80 on the infill and 60 and 35, and it's about where I'd be at. Yes, if I would definitely need to put about 1,000 hours into it in terms of print time, and then I could be more. But like as someone who it's a brand new printer, the company is very good right now in terms of support and stuff. They're trying to bring replacement parts into a store so that way people can get replacement parts. There's other things like if that board dies, that breakout board, let's say that decides to singe, I can't get another breakout board immediately. There's some proprietary things on here that are really cool from a geek standpoint, but when it comes to like fixing a Prusa, everything's just a standard part. If something doesn't work, I can print it or I can buy it online and I can have it back up and running in a minute. If something breaks on this, I mean, there's a custom breakout board here on the X-axis. There's a custom breakout board on the extruder. There's a custom filament sensor. I don't know if I can disable that filament sensor in the settings here. So it's kind of scary. Like, yeah, black ABS would be great. Ooh, I do name my printers. So that's the Retro X. This is Toxie because it's green. This one is Gray Bear because it's gray. This one's blue because it's blue. And that one just Mark 3S because it is a stock Mark 3S. Abrams for the tank printer. And this will have a name eventually one day. Panning is impossible at the moment. I'm on a tripod over there. But yeah. You cannot control the brightness. The color, yes. You can pick from 5 colors that are built in. So or 4. Let's find out. White, blue, red, green. So 4. Gunny. What up, little Gunny? Maybe I'll put it to vote on the Patreon. Hey, guys, pick out the name of my new printer. I also need to find a space for it. Because it is, let me grab a... It's 550 millimeters deep. So it definitely takes up some space. So what is that? So that's just under 2 feet. So, and then of course the power cable's in the back. So that means I need room behind to plug in the power cable. It is a nice solid, I don't think they're rubber. It's that tougher plastic polyurethane feet. Bigfoot. That is actually a great name for that. And I really do enjoy Bigfoot. I love, horror movies, so anything that's a reference to mythological creatures and horror monsters, I'm a fan of. Gosh, I wish I didn't ruin the first layer by being so squished. All right, where's my phone? There it is. Printer McPrinter face. Oh, it's got a bit of the Irish. I guess the Irish aren't the only people with Mick in their name. Da 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 da. All right. Let's take some pictures. Camera time. Shell shock. Looks like they were using Cura to make their profile. Let's get that angle that shows those layers off. There we go. Boom. Okay. I'm going to share these with some humans. Actually, I think I can send this to my computer. Let's see here. Click on the desktop, Shift Command R. Oh, that was a Shift Command E. Shift Command R. Oh, of course I have Wi-Fi turned off because I'm plugged in Ethernet, so I can't send those over. But I'll send these over to some friends here. Dun 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 dun. Putting on the Ritz. Ooh, those seams look weird. Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't have any nice cameras down here to take pictures with. I have the nice camera set up over there to take video with. Wish I had to back way up because this thing doesn't even fit in the frame. I look tiny. I'm like, hey, and then there's this giganto printer in front of me. Yeah. If there's anything else that I can say about this printer, there were some this plate. There's a plate over here on the x-axis to hold the x-axis motor down. The motors are actually very cool. I can't feel the y-axis motor. X-axis motor is, I mean, barely warm. I mean, it's just above the 18 Celsius of this basement. Yeah, definitely warmer. It's warmer than the metal plating of the body. So one of the things I did notice was the plate that they used to make some of these stuff that they coat in this beautiful blue sparkle paint. The quality isn't the best. Looks like it just stamped pieces. I think I would prefer to reprint them in FDM land besides the main carriage plates. But this holder here, I definitely like to reprint that. I think I could do a better job. And then, I never did check the tension on that Titan. The things you don't remember to do until you're already watching it printing and you don't know what's going on. I should probably check to make sure that the Z gantry was level. I did not do that. I actually could probably do that later on. Yeah. So far, so good. I'm actually very impressed. What up, Jake from State Farm? You are Jake from State Farm? What's up, dude? Let me turn my microphone. That's better. Now that I got the microphone away from my face so I don't look like a face with a microphone in its mouth. So far, so good. I kind of want to turn the speed up and just see how well it does printing at fast pace. But, I mean, it does have a volcano on there. It does have some nice stuff. Sometimes I tease myself like, oh, man, I really want to just crank the speed to 400 and see what happens. So peaceful down here. Of course, all my printers, only one printer's running besides this one. Unfortunately, I've been crazy busy all day doing random things, and I took like a little mini power nap after yard work. So I didn't really get a chance to come down here and start prints because I just swapped nozzles on the Ender 5. And the Ender 5, I put a 0.5 coated P3D nozzle on there. This one just finished printing right before the broadcast. This one I just swapped motors in to test something, and I haven't done anything. I just swapped them, and it's there, just sitting. It is very quiet. Let me take my headphones off. I mean, you literally only hear the fans, and the fans aren't that loud. I don't have a professional. I mean, I got a decibel meter on my phone. Let's see here. Decibel meter on my phone. I think it's under utilities. Yes, I have a dB meter. There we go. So as I'm talking right now, I'm showing 80 decibels with me talking right in the microphone right now. Without me talking, I'm at 60 decibels. So not bad. 1 meter away. Come on. I always stand this close to my printer, which is less than a meter because my arm isn't a meter long. Hold on. Let me get the tape measure. Oh, well, it didn't even say it. 55 was where I was at from a meter away, but there's also printers behind me. So it's, oh yeah. I mean, I work with 3D printers. So I mean, millimeters, meters. I even have this tape measure that works in feet and meters. Ooh. Ooh, Jonathan Smith, MKS Gen L. 3 PW fans on one board. That would be an RCCNC question. He would know. Tony, the minimum distance to listen to a Harley Davidson is like a block away. And my cousin is Ken Cagle of Cagle Harley Davidson here in town. So I love him and his business to death. But those things are loud. They're very loud. Yeah, 55 decibels. I mean, it really isn't that bad. It's just louder than a Mark III, but it's quieter than like my Ender 5. No, you will not hear this from the like I can just hear the humming of the fan if I'm 5 feet away, 3.4 meters away. Yeah. We are 55% of the way there. Oh, I forgot. Jake from State Farm's like a genius with the mathness. Ooh, Seekin. Yeah, actually, the MKS Gen L, you can use the second heater cartridge for the fan, and that one can be set as an on-off because that's one of the things I hate doing. The Snapmaker was 82 decibels. Man, we got Keith and Jake from State Farm in here all throwing down like words and stuff that have to do with Marlin. So, math magicians, Marlin-gicians. Good night, 3D Jimmy. Enjoy the evening. It is only 7:30 here. Yes, second extruder. Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing on mine because mine's on always on. It's plugged right into the normal hot end fan port, which is just always on, and there's no way of controlling that for some reason. Hey, Craig. I'm going to pop these prints off. $9.30 in Japan. I wish I was in Japan. My friend just visited Japan the other day. Not the other day, but last month. And she had a blast. The food, the humans, the food. More carbon fiber prints. All right, Brian, put your kiddo away. Thanks for coming, man. Hope you enjoyed your stay. I hear that all the time. People go to Japan like food. Oh man, I wish I was on business in Japan for 3 weeks. I mean, I just wish I was in Japan for 3 weeks. I don't care what excuse I need. No days off. Barbecue sushi. Oh. And for that big old bed, print isn't moving too much. I'm definitely seeing more y-axis ghosting than I am on the X, but I believe I can eliminate that with a little bit of jerk stuff. I need to know if linear advance is enabled on here, because I would love to put linear advance on here as well as S-curve acceleration. %63 done. Looks like about 30 more minutes. Mr. Printing Llama. I have tried 2 spools of it, and they were fine. The only issues I had on mine were it just wasn't anything different that I could get any elsewhere for. I actually prefer the CC3D silver and gold that I got, and then I got a rainbow spool, and it had little bubbles, and that was actually something that someone else had. They had a spool and had little bubbles in it. Yes, they are pushing very hard. They made a printer, the Thinker, I think it was. I think it was a Thinker. Tristan, don't question a man that wants to run 3 fans on his printer. I mean, that sounds like dual fans for cooling. Because who doesn't want dual fan cooling? Yeah, there's a lot of really cool printers coming out from the Shenzhen. I think this is the funnest one. But that's just me. I'm very partial to the things I buy. Yeah, definitely need to lower the wide jerk a little bit. I can definitely tell that most of that, there's a little bit of ringing coming from the arm where there's a little tight little little goofiness in the elbow, in the arm section over there. But for the most part, it's a very nice print. There's a little bit of VFA. Keith, I don't know. I don't know much about the artillery company or Ev Novo. I've seen their stuff. I can't remember where I saw it first. I know I saw it somewhere and I was like, wow. Geared volcano extruder plus, chunky rails plus filament sensor plus, power detection plus touch. I mean, literally threw the entire kitchen sink into a printer. And I think original was like $500. I was like, man, that's a really good price. And then it dropped to like $480 and then it dropped to $450. And then now you can get it for $400. I'm like, yeah. That is a steal. So I got mine free shipping for like $410 straight from Artillery themselves. I was talking to Jenny. She is on the Twitter, and she was the one who convinced me that, yeah, you should definitely get this printer. It's awesome. I will send it directly with all this, free shipping and stuff. It doesn't come with filament, which that's like the one thing I think I've seen people complain, like, oh, every other printer comes with free filament. I'm like, bro, you're getting a $400 steal. Like, bring your own roll of $9.99 filament, man. Like, not like that roll of little dinky roll Creality sends, is that good? Like, eh. The filament path should be great. It's direct drive Titan. It's a Titan Aero clone, so it should be pretty okay. It felt very smooth as I was inserting the filament. So, Mr. Llama, I am the Your Daily Micron on the Twitterverse. They just need to fund me. Yeah, I wish I was cool enough to get free stuff, but I'm not. So that's why I'm a little bit slower when it comes to buying things. And I also make as much decision making as possible. I was looking at getting like a CR10S Pro. I was like, man, 300 by 300 by 400 has a lot of cool features. It definitely has the the filament or the ABL or something I really wanted. But for the most part, I was like, there's other things I wanted. Like, I really wanted not to have to mod out. It was like, once you buy a CR10S Pro, I'd still want to throw a geared extruder on there. And I really, I would have put a volcano on there, but hey, I don't want to start a fight, Jake. I'm the guy who will say something and then someone will be completely wrong. And I'm like, but you're wrong. And then people get mad at me. And then all hell breaks loose. Or famous YouTubers will make podcasts and be like, what is that? They'd be like, that guy, there was nothing. But I'm like, but I'm right here. You can ask me if there was nothing. I never ask. Yeah. But it's you with the apostrophe RE. It is my wrong? Yes, it is my wrong. I like that. It's easy to let things slide, but then sometimes, people just chime in, you know, like you'll do something and they'll be like, nope, that's completely wrong. And I'm like, well, how? Like, there's this physical evidence. Yeah, but you're wrong. But here's this physical evidence, but you're wrong. Like, okay, you know, I tried. Yeah, it's fun. I just feel that for me, Twitter is the worst social media to have if you want to have a discussion. Twitter was invented to go, hey, I'm going here, or hey, I'm doing this. And now people are doing like, hey, let's solve the world's problems on Twitter. And I'm like, there aren't enough letters per post to be able to solve much on the Twitter. Well, I got to send a print to my printer. Print. There are a lot of American tourists on the Twitter, and they're not all American. Toxie. What do I need to print? Not random prints. I need CF Bear Mark III prints. How much filament do I have left on there? I've had better experience on Facebook, but then the community that's on the Prusa, you know, community page is amazing. Like those people are just, I don't know, they must really like people, or just really good at saying they like people. But I prefer the Facebook because at least you can have a discussion. So you know, that's my issue with Twitter. Like I'll have a discussion with someone, and then 9 other people will jump in the middle, and you've already explained some details up above, but they only catch you. They only catch you like 30 comments down here, and then are harping you on something because you're reading it out of context. So you can't read it in a coherent fashion. So for me, a discussion on Twitter is completely impossible. So when people have an argument on Twitter, it's like, you know, you'll have a discussion on something very simple. You explain it, and you keep having a discussion with a person, and someone will jump in, 10 pages into your conversation, and be like, well, what you just said doesn't make sense, and I'm telling you why. I'm like, but just said it like right up here, bro. So so having a good coherent conversation, I find to be near impossible on Twitter. And I think that's the issue. Is it also makes me frustrated because people will jump in, a day later on Twitter on a random comment that out of context makes no sense. And they're like, well, of course it doesn't make sense because you said this. I'm like, well, but you got to read the whole story, which you can't. David Thompson. Does anyone know what their web address is? I've gone through a search and found 2 sites that are under construction. So I guess they bought those names to sell to the company. I have no idea. I don't have the official one on my thingy. Tristan, actually, you can join it. You have to make sure to fill in the answers to the questions. So there's 2 questions on the Prusa Community Facebook page that we have on there. It's like, will you not berate people and make them feel like bad human beings for asking, simple questions? And the other one is like, what is the day after Monday? And you have to fill those in. As long as you fill those in, you're automatically accepted. So 500 notification thread. Yeah, some of the threads I've seen get so long. Yeah, each tweet is very, 280, and people complain a lot on Twitter that I'm too harsh, I guess. The thing is, I have 280 words, and I'm a very expressive human being. Like, you see me on here, like, I use like 30 words to describe something that could take 2. So, when you're trying to explain a technical thing in a very limited amount of characters, you leave out like the niceties and you leave out verbs. You just go straight to like the answer, and it's very, very brash and very like abrupt. And people are like, oh, you're too abrupt. I'm like, there's only so many letters. Sean. Yeah, you know, it's totally okay to be obtuse if you're the right person. Yeah, it gets kind of silly. But I've just found Twitter much easier if I just block everyone that ends up chiming in. Like, I'm, I'm expensive. Dude, I'm like $20. Like, you can take me out for a cheeseburger. I'm a pretty happy person. Mostly because it's cheeseburgers, I guess. Um, that is turning out just fantastic. So I really don't go much on the Twitter now just to post. I needed to learn that if I go on Twitter to not do any problem solving on there. Because that seems to be the one issue where I have is like problem solving becomes very difficult on Twitter because it's just kind of like how Reddit was in the 3D printing Reddit group, where the Reddit group is fine, but you'd get some extremely wrong answers and you try to tell someone that they're an extremely wrong answer even in a nice way, and people get very angry. So well, I mean, I figured $20 would be 2 cheeseburgers, one for each of us, and a drink and fries. I mean, Chris Freeze. You know, I'm gonna scratch this lotto ticket. Well, this prints. What do I have to scratch with? I think got my coin in my wallet. Yeah, I like Reddit. I don't like the Reddit 3D printing group. They post some amazing things. There's some great content in there. Just, man, some of the answers and some of the people's responses are like, mod, just delete that. Like, please. Ooh, my lucky numbers are 20 and 23. Yeah, that's a 19. That's a 9. That's a 21. That's a 4. That's a 5. That's a 22. That's in between there. An 8. There's a 12. There's a 17. Yeah, and a 1. I didn't win $1 million. I would have shared it with most of you. $100 burgers. Oh, Tony, that's a good answer. Post a picture, say, what am I doing wrong? You're not describing the problem. Yeah, at least on Facebook, I can have like 20 images and I can ask people for more images and it's all in the same post. So it's a lot easier to help people. So I found that Facebook is nice for that, but I also don't use Facebook like a normal human being. I don't think I actually go on my Facebook. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't really go on there to check my Facebook. I don't know what my friends are doing. Like, people always go like, hey, man, did you see I'm doing this? I'm like, no, I didn't see that you're doing that. I would have rather had you call me, be like, hey, dude, look, I'm doing this amazing thing I'm doing. Or message me, because I don't check my Facebook. So, yeah. Hey, let's all go back to IRC chat. I think everyone needs to install Trillion, and we need to all have MSN chat and Skype and AOL chat and IRC all on one and all chat with each other. Yeah, keep the same thing. 3D printing groups and like the 2 photography groups that I still want to be part of. Oh, ICQ. Yes, there we go. IRC chat. ICQ. I am a smart pickle. Good old ICQ. And what about oh, there was more. There was more things. Gosh. I do miss going on those things. I remember going on BBBs, and when we first got internet, I was young. I was a young man when we had internet. And we go online and we play. There was a place called Gateway Internet in our town, and we'd dial in at like the 28.8 because we didn't have. I think the first modem was like 2,800 modem, 2,800 modem, or 28.8. I can't remember. Definitely wasn't in the tens of thousands in terms of speed. But we used to go on there and we used to go and just chat and go to like message boards and then go to this trivia board, and it would just do trivia all day long. And me and my dad would hang out in the trivia chat and, you know, do trivia for like 2 hours a day. And that's why I know lots of random things. No. Switch from family to 3D printing. It's many Shenzhen people. Oh, whatever, Chris Freeze. You know your photography. It's super swell. I've seen it. Yeah. Oh, that was the worst. We never had call waiting ever. Like ever. So the whole time we had dial up, it was like no one can use the phone. And we only had one. I don't think we had a second line for internet until I was already a teenager. So I mean, it was a very painful. It was a very painful childhood on the internet. It's like, oh, I need to make a phone call. Like, gosh darn it. I was just downloading that 10 kilobyte GIF image that I really needed for class. I really wish when you opened up your laptop, that would make just a modem connection sound every time. At least part of it, like meh, meh, connected. You know, I tell that to a lot of people. Like I do a lot of photography, and I end up getting, you know, I work with kids and families, and like a lot of the, you know, I'm in my mid 30s, so like I end up photographing families that, you know, they're in their 20s because, you know, they're married already at like 18, 19, already have a kid at 20. And we'll talk internet. And I'm like, I used to have dial up. And they're like, what's that? I'm like, oh, it's the best. At least we don't store, at least we don't have Sony Mavicas where we store all our images on a floppy disk while we're taking them at like 10 kilobytes per JPEG. Watching a GIF as they download at 14.4. Yeah. 36K. I can't remember all the modems I had. Like a 38, a 36. Yeah. Yeah. I think that I would love to boot up my printer, and when it connects to my Repetier server, it makes the modem's connection sound. Be okay with that. Let's see. Persuasion. Yeah, the answer should be yes, or something that resembles a yes. Jake, no, I did not get the SKR board working because every single time I install my firmware, it bugs out. Anytime I install anybody else's firmware, it works. I edited other people's firmware and it doesn't work. I don't know what I'm doing. $56K. Oh my gosh. That was the highlight of my youth, was when we finally got $56K modems. Oh, I remember when I freaked people out having the Star Trek theme song. When the print got, like, I was sleeping, and then all of a sudden the Star Trek theme song turns on when my print finished. I did start with a fresh. I started with a fresh Marlin 2.0. Someone else suggested I used a certain build of it, and they linked me to it, so I will try that. Highlight of my youth was definitely when we went with DSL, and because cable was ridiculously expensive out here. It is a really good looking print. We're very close. It's at 93%. And technically it should be done in 8 minutes if my timing was correct. Phil, have a wonderful time in Japan without us. So please come back with many awesome things. Yes, you did, Keith. So I'm going to try. I haven't tried that yet, but I will. I will eventually get there. I like the light. The light is really cool. I thought I wouldn't like the light. I thought I would just turn it off, but I am okay with this light. I actually see through the infill. Jake, you build me a firmware, and I will load it, and we'll see. Just yeah, let's do that. You build the firmware, I'll install it, and we'll see if it doesn't work. Maybe it doesn't like one of the things I'm picking. Wait, you did build one for me, Keith? Wait, was that fully built with all the things I needed, or was that? I'm confused, because that'd be super dope if that's the thing, the stuff. I will definitely recheck that. Can you message me on Facebook? Because I'm horrible at finding things in the past. Mr. Keith, that'd be awesome. So you are a champ. See, Jake, you've already been replaced by Keith. He's living in one room. All 26 of us, no furniture. It wasn't the garbled screen. It just won't load. Like, my board won't boot. Uh-oh, community catch up in 5. This will be done in 5. And then I'm done. And then I'll go check out the community catch up. Man, that profile turned out great. I gotta see how fast I can go, but I definitely do need to tweak the yeah. Well, Keith, you are amazing. Jake, you are a somebody. You're Jake from State Farm. And you're also hilariously amazing at knowing exactly what needs to be. Like, if I ask something or say something, I don't know what it is. You always know what I know, what I need to know, or what I needed to say, because I don't remember. Man, Tristan, I would love for that, but I don't think they will. Because I don't think Prusa could figure out a way to warranty it. Oh man, I want to get an A20M from G-Tech. That's the color mixing one. And I would slap a Bondtech on there. So I will look into that. Yeah, the print looks smooth as all can be. It looks very smooth. I can't see the retraction lines, so I can't say, I can't say much. I'm getting it just a teeny bit of wobble from this big Z-axis. And there's definitely a little bit of wobble. Like, I can move that Z-axis. So I'm going to probably figure out, I mean, just like the CR10 was. I mean, it's a tall axis. So, I'd love to sell them an essentials kit. Unfortunately, I think they wouldn't go for it. Well, if that's the case, Mad Monkey, that the A30 is a CR10 clone, I do have a CR10 profile already. So you can try that. Message me on your favorite thing. Bruce, how does it compare to a standard Mark III? The layers are better. They are extremely smooth and very well. Yeah, they're really nice. So there's no mohair, there's no basket weave 602, there is no, I mean, they're very smooth layers. This is a very nice looking, this is making very nice prints. Yeah, the workbench is not very sturdy. This is just like a standard, old 80s, table. So there's definitely some wobble induced by the table itself. That's why, like, these tables back here, these are all braced. They're strong. They're made of solid wood. Yeah. This is not made out of solid wood. Ooh, Jonathan, I will post my Ender 5 Prusa slicer profiles. I believe I posted them on my Patreon, and they should be free. So I don't hide any of my profiles. So you don't have to be a patron to get any of my profiles. So I believe it should be on my Patreon. I will double check that. But I also need a place where I put them all. So I need to set up a download section on Prusa Community website. Hey, look at that. It did the thing. Does the bed move on its own? It does. It is on there. That is nice. So the retractions were good. I wish it had linear advance. I can definitely see where linear advance would help this print off. Let me peel this brim off. This brim's gross. Never use a brim, but I don't trust the bed yet. Oh. Cleaning off the print with this cleaner thing. Then I can show everyone the print because I really don't want to show you guys this ugly brim. Come on. All right. That turned out really clean. Let me take a picture of it. Picture time. I mean, it's not like the world's greatest print, but for just getting the printer, not running a single calibration. Doing mighty fine. All right. Camera time. Ooh. So clean. I think if there's any artifacting, it's a little bit of y-axis jerk setting changes. It definitely needs some linear advance. X-axis looks great. I would give this a 7 out of 10. Overhangs are good. That's a fine print of me. Ha! That's a very nice print. Let's see. Yeah, they can fork it to whatever they want, and they still give it credit. Like it's still in the, it's still in all the credits on the thing. It's all in the credits on the actual GitHub. So I'm not too unhappy about it. Man, that's gonna be. I think this is gonna be a really nice printer for printing cool things. I mean, if I printed this thing like in a Vertigo or a Prusa Galaxy or some Rapunzel or it'd be literally flawless. It handled the overhangs really well. Cooling in the rear is worse than cooling in the front, which makes sense. There are a couple fan shrouds I saw for it, so we'll try that. You need to retract that X. So yeah, I am super pleased with that. Which one looks better, mine or theirs? They look exactly the same. So the layering was correct, and I don't look like I'm over extruding anymore. But man, linear advance would just sell this thing. Prusa stole my slicer. Yeah, 7 to 10 on my scale. I mean, there's, the cooling in the back could be fixed up a little bit. So a different fan shroud would definitely help. Because only blowing from the front. Putting a silicone sock would probably help out a bunch because it won't have the radiant heat. It did the overhangs just fine. The overhangs are great. And there isn't really... I mean, you can definitely tell that this thing was rocking around, but it's not bad. So put this thing on a sturdier table. Use a layer hiding filament. So, all right, I'm going to peace out. I'm going to join the catchy group and see what's going on in the community catch-up. And then, yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed me building a printer that isn't a Prusa and playing with it and building a profile. So, it looks like about 15 millimeters to the right of it and a little bit higher. So, need to get all the, in the same filament. That'd be good too. Just like all the printers print to Chris. It still looks really nice. I'll have to mess with that some more. So everyone, thank you for joining. Smash that goodbye button. Hit the good night switches. And yeah, have a wonderful time. Thanks again for joining. I will keep everyone updated on any mods that I might do. I definitely will take a look at what it looks to put on an actual Titan extruder on here, because I definitely want to put a sock on it, and I definitely want to wire the right thermistor and heater cables. So have a wonderful evening. Stay out of trouble. Stay tuned for more. I'll have another slicer video tomorrow and Friday and Saturday and probably Sunday. I think I have enough videos posting daily. They're already lined up to post on their own. So stay tuned for all of those things to happen. So check my phone. Checking my phone. I have an airmail. Hey, no problem, Brian. Have a wonderful day. I don't know why I'm checking my phone. I know Keith sent me a message, and Mad Monkey is now a patron, and someone subscribed to my channel. So I don't know what you're asking me to check my phone for. You probably sent a picture of it on Facebook Messenger. So yeah, good night, everybody. Stay out of trouble. Thank you. Good night. Ending the show with Mini Chris hanging out on the hotbed.